Hi everybody, and welcome to the assembly instructions for the Amanita Cottage curved staircase. Da la la la! Isn't it gorgeous? It's available for the Amanita Cottage in the kit, but it's also available separately if you have an 8-inch ceiling project. And it is a great project to do. It is not for the faint of heart. This is hot water, and I am soaking the face piece in the hot water. I should soak it for longer, probably about 4 or 5 minutes to get a proper bend out of it. I didn't. This is for demo purposes, so I am kind of hurrying through this project. This is also the first time I am using straight up kit pieces to assemble this, so this is still a test run for me. So there will be some changes throughout the video, and it'll be a little bit different from the final kit. An F-clamp is extremely useful in this project, and I recommend it in the Amanita Cottage project as a whole. It is having 1 or 2 or 3 of these would be advantageous for you to have, and you should have it if you do kits on the regular anyway. They're just really good to have because they can clamp wide areas, and although tiny clamps and those little spring clamps and even quilters clips are useful for miniaturing, the F-clamp is invaluable. So I put in the R1 piece, which is the right one piece, and now I am putting in the side. Now I am putting it basically as an L shape on the bottom, and I glued it along the curve and pinched it in there, and now I'm gluing in the side wall. Now I'm sorry, I was doing this from my desk with the camera above my head, so I couldn't always see what I was capturing. So there are moments here where you're going to miss a few of my, things, but you'll get the gist of it. I'm not a professional videographer, but I put the sidewall on so it would align and straighten the wall on the front. And now I'm going to grab the R3 piece, not the R2, the R3. And I'm going to align it with the bottom edge of the top drawers. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. I'm trying to fix the curve and make sure that it's nice and, in the right place and everything. So I am putting it up against the bottom of the drawers here on the apertures, just against the top, and making sure they're flush with the bottom edge. You want to make sure the drawer can go in and out without any impediment, so just make sure that it is flush with those edges. And I'm going to just go ahead and put this R3 piece in. Now there's a reason why the R's are marked on the right side of the shelves if you're facing the staircase, and that is because these pieces have to be in the right direction. So the R's have to be on the right side of this assembly if you're looking straight on at the face of this staircase. So make sure those little texts are where they ought to be. So now that this is glued in place, now I'm going to install the R2. Sorry about that. And the R2 goes between here on flush with the edge of the bottom drawers. So the bottom edges of the bottom drawers, the apertures, you want to put that up against that and put it in there. Now the reason why I did that is it's making it easier to install, but it also, it fixes that curve. It puts that curve in its place and makes it easier for me to install this one, especially with the wood drying after having it wet. I want to make sure that it is set in that curve, so that's why I used the third shelf first. Well, the third curved piece, I should say, because one of them is a floor piece. So I am doing this here to align the drawers and put in the drawer alignment pieces. Now I did it on the bottom shelf first, and you could barely see it because, again, I didn't have my camera properly aligned. But you will see me doing the top of the shelf, which is the same that you're doing the top drawer as opposed to the bottom drawer shelf. So right now you can't see much, but you'll see it on the next when I'm doing the top drawers. But you can see I'm using the drawer themselves, the bottoms of the drawers themselves, to make sure that everything is aligned properly and the drawers can go in and out of their apertures without any hindrance. So this little piece here, you have to make sure you get it in the right direction. The more angled side is the side that goes in towards the stairs. And you see I'm using the drawer bottom to align it. And now I'm putting in some of the wedge shapes. Now these are not super tight. They're just a guide to keep the drawers from sliding left or right too much. And as you can see, I'm aligning the drawer again, and I'm putting another wedge shape in. There is one specific one that is specific to the bottom right side. That drawer right there. There's a big one, and then there's a small one. And that one has its own wedges. So you have to make sure you use the right ones. I have marked them, and they will be marked in the instructions with the staircase and the kit. As you can tell, I've been modifying pieces as I go, and some pieces are a little bit different than the other ones because I've been finding issues and tweaking them as I go along. So you see I'm testing the drawers and their movement, making sure that they have plenty of space, but not too much space that they can fly around in the staircase. Okay, now I'm putting in R4 and make sure that that letter and that number are on the right side of the staircase if you're looking at the staircase. This curve is very specific, and if you flip these over, it'll mess up the shape of your staircase. So you have to have these in the right direction. And I'm putting that flush with the openings for the shelf area. And I'm using my F-clamp again. I wish I had 2 more of them. I need to get some more. Now these little dividers are going to help you space your shelves as well, but also keep things from, if they fall over in the staircase, from falling into the abyss. So we'll go ahead and close off this area and make sure that this is spaced properly. There are 2 of these in this size, and you're going to put one here, and you're going to put one on the next drawer shelf. So there you go, those 2. And we're just going to glue those in. Now those numbers on the shelves are much smaller and more discreet now, even on the dividers as well. This is just, again, this was my rough cut, but I've been refining the way they look, and the R1 and the R3 will be much smaller, even though these ones will be completely invisible. Now this here is a slide guard. Now you can put this closer to the opening, the little wedged opening there, if you want to. It's basically to keep things from sliding into the abyss. If you have anything on that shelf, you don't want to lose it into the bottom of the stairs forever. So I put that there just to keep things from sliding away and so they could be retrievable. But you can push it to the left more so that it's closer to that little wedge-shaped opening if you want to. Now these are spacers that I'm putting in the bottom. This was kind of a fix, a late fix in the kit. And so you might want to install these when you install the first or the second piece there. And do that before you even put the shelves in. But, I should say the drawer shelves. I know it's confusing. The instructions hopefully will be a little more specific. But these will help keep that spaced and nice and strong. And here is your cabinet shelf divider. And of course the letters are going to be smaller, and you want to put those facing the left, and you want to put them at the top so that when your stairs are installed, they won't be visible, those letters. And this is R5, which is the shelf for the cabinet. And we're going to glue that in. It really is super useful to have some wood glue in one of those needle nose bottle applicators. It is invaluable to have, and I recommend it 100%. It's in the instruction sheet as well. I have all of the tools that I recommend using for the whole project, not just the staircase, but the entire Amanita cottage. Now this kit will be available separately, as I said. So if you want a curved staircase for your other projects, this one will be available on my website, feffiescottage.com, and you can buy it there. This is not a beginner's kit, but I don't think it would be impossible for beginners. Now here's another slide stop. It's basically to keep things from... Now these you don't have to wet all at once. I did. I would wet them individually and you know, work with them as you put them on, because they have to dry. One has to dry before you can put the other ones on. Otherwise it won't come out smooth. So I'm going to put the first one on, and it's been just dampened a little bit. They have these little lines which help ease the curve, and you just go ahead and F-clamp it on and use masking tape or rubber bands or whatever you need to do to hold it nice and tight against the back of this assembly and put it in there. Sadly, you're not going to get 100% perfect curve at the top because there are no shelves helping shape it. So the only thing that's going to help that is to add in the step risers, and we're going to do that later, but it'll help push that top part into the proper curve. So let that dry thoroughly before you apply the next one. And we're going to add the next one here. Sand down any edges. You should, in practice, be removing all of your sooty edges as much as possible. And I've added the last one in as well. The soot is hard to paint, and it also doesn't glue as strongly as it would if you took the soot off. So now we're adding risers. Now these are going to determine your width as well when you get to the place where the wood is not bent as it should be. So you can use the F-clamp to set the bend in place, and then glue your risers in, and when those are dry, you can remove the F-clamp and it will hold that bend for you. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be pretty either way. I could have put a shelf up a little higher, but I don't think it's going to make a big difference in controlling the bend of those top 4 stairs. So putting in the risers is really quite simple, and here you see I'm pulling these a little bit closer together because the bend is making them too wide. So I'm just setting it at the right width and putting the riser in there to glue it in place and hold it in place. All right, I've got the risers in. Now it's time for the stairs. Now the first ones I'm going to start with are the notched steps. We're going to do the first step is a notched step, and then from there every 3 steps up you're going to have another notched step. So 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th step right here. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3 and another step right here. And then 1, 2, 3 and the top step. And you put the notched ones in like so. And now we're just going to apply the regular stairs. Now because the bend is going to be different for every one of the kits, you're going to have some irregularities here. I've made the steps as best I could to compensate for that, but we can't, it just can't be helped. So there are some cases where it's going to be a little bit off, but you really want to push so that your back edge is flush, but you might have some pieces that are poking out from the staircase. And if that's the case, or the steps themselves might have pieces poking out into the back area, and you don't want any protrusions there because that's what's going to be going up against the wall in the Amanita cottage. So you want to sand those down once they're installed if there are protrusions on the back. This is mostly going to be hidden, so any irregular things like if you cut it down and it doesn't look 100% even or whatever, if you sand it down, it's fine, because all of this is going to be against the wall and largely invisible. But yeah, you want to make sure that that backside is smooth. Now with the railing, I am applying these little pieces of trim. Now you can soak the railing as well if you want to. It's pliable enough that you don't need to, but it would be better if you did soak it, just so that you can get it to set and dry with a proper bend on it. Otherwise you'll have some pressure issues, and the railing won't stay straight if you don't give it a good healthy soak in hot water. So we're just going to snap that in there for a second. Now it should hold on its own, but there might be some angle going on with the top and bottom railings, and I used a clamp to kind of hold it in place while it's drying. There you go. I kind of leveraged it with a clamp. There are other ways of doing it too, maybe a weight or something like that. So let that dry. And now we're just going to apply some trim while it's drying, like the fun parts, the details, right? These little leaves are meant to go under each railing to kind of make a cute transition between the railing and the staircase. And it is a tree motif, so we've got to have some leaves, right? The Amanita cottage is an organic assemblage, so we got to have organic themes, right? I like the little leaves a lot. I love putting tiny details on things. I guess we all do if we like miniatures. We like tiny details. Okay. Now we're going to apply some trim pieces as the tree trunks, so they're a little more stylized, a little more structured instead of just organic. So it's a blend of organic and structure, just like the whole Amanita cottage house, the mushroom house. Downstairs and part of the upstairs are structured and have straight lines, and then all of a sudden you have all of these curves and, domes and all sorts of ruddy, soft, smooth shapes. I think it's really fun, a fun dollhouse. It's small, but it's fun and versatile, and you can really play with the theme. So we're installing the last of these. And there you go. Super cute. I think detail just does it, doesn't it? Okay, now we're going to install the railing. Now I recommend, instead of masking tape, that you use little small spring clamps, or you can use the larger size quilting clamps to hold these in place and make sure that your railing is flat on top of this. Now this railing should help also shape the bend on your rail, the handrail I should say, should help shape the railing's bend. But you can soak it and make this easier, or you can leave it dry and carefully apply it like I'm doing here, and it will put pressure on the railing itself and hopefully help it stand in the right angle and shape. We're not looking for perfection here. Now here's a little tiny piece to end the hand railing part, and you're going to apply that, and then you're going to sand it smooth and kind of help transition it into the handrail that's going down the stairs. Now this is your brace. This is going to help you with your drawers. It doesn't have to be perfect, just slap it together. It's basically just used to help shape the bend on your drawer fronts. But you want to put on the little handle so you can pull it out of the drawer once the drawer is dry, and let that dry and start gluing your drawer boxes. Little handles, there you go. Now the drawer boxes, you need to start by grinding down the inner corner of every one of these sides. So you're making it kind of an angle, and you're getting rid of the corner of each one of those, so that there's nothing interfering with the curved front of the drawer. You just want kind of a pointy edge like that. Can you see it? Yeah. And you're going to put those ground down edges on the front, both facing inward. So first we're going to apply we're putting some glue on the sides, all around the back and on this side. And then we're going to take these, as you can see, they're both facing each other, the ground side, and we're going to put those facing each other on the drawer. Make sure these are properly aligned, and that the angled fronts of the sides are not too protruding past the drawer bottom. I hope I'm being clear here. But you want to do all 5 of these same way. Have them face each other. Lay them down flat. We're going to glue this with the bottom here. There you go. And the back of the drawer goes right between the two. Make sure the edges are well aligned with the drawer bottom so that they don't interfere with the drawer sliding in and out. And let those dry thoroughly. See, I'm aligning it very carefully with the bottom of the drawer. There you go. Now we have all 5, plus the brace. And that goes in like that. Now we're going to put the curved front on the drawer. So we put the brace in, and I'm going to put a liberal amount of glue all around the very edges of the front. I don't want it to go inside the box or where the brace is, so it doesn't glue the brace in. And we're going to put the drawer face in, and we're going to use rubber bands to fix that curve up against the bottom of the drawer and the brace. And we're going to do that 5 times. So we've got 5 drawers, and that's it. We're all done. Hope you love it.